A leader of Afenifere, the Yoruba social cultural group, Mr. Ayo Adebanjo, has asked the federal government to consider implementing recommendations of the 2014 National Conference to overcome some of the challenges the country is facing. Mr. Adebanjo believes the present administration may find some of the contributions useful. He was speaking in Isara, Remo North Local Government Area of Ogun State during a tribute in honor of the late Olaniwun Ajayi. Other Yoruba leaders present called on Southwesterners to push for the region's unity, irrespective of their religious or political bias.
The caliber of politicians gathered here shows that there is a kind of meeting where political affiliation is put aside. The governors of Ogun, Oyo, and Osun states are present. Top Afenifere leaders also set aside their political differences to call for renewed unity and cohesion among the Yoruba race.
It is important for all of us to be united. We should be devoid of partisan and what have you. If we have disappointments and disagreements, we should situate it well. We should not now try to now paint maybe Mr. A black just to score maybe political games. So it is not right, and I will still talk to our elders when we leave this place. Personally, I feel pain, and I will find time to sit down with our elders. People should not give us. We should not give ourselves. If we give ourselves bad name, tomorrow then what happens? So we should try as much as possible to be united, one front, one goal. Once it affects this, our Yoruba entity, we should take ourselves as one. Anything that will affect us, we must take it. Everybody must fight for it.
Even with the call for unity among their own, the Yoruba leaders know that the Southwest region cannot exist in isolation. It was also a good opportunity to touch on some national issues.
No way for Buhari other than to implement the 2014 National Conference. All the uproar they have over the country, if he prevents that situation, economic, everything will be solved. Without solving the national question, there can be no political stability in the country. Where there is no political stability, there could be no economic progress.
With one voice, they call for one Nigeria, where everyone's opinion counts in solving the nation's problems. These leaders also know that it may be difficult to unite an entire nation if the geopolitical zones cannot do it among themselves.
International rights group Amnesty International has accused security forces in Nigeria of allegedly killing at least 150 members and supporters of the pro-Biafran organization, the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB. The group, in a statement, also claims that hundreds of its members were injured during various non-violent gatherings within a year, with hundreds also arbitrarily arrested by agents of state. It says that the continued deployment of the military in various parts of the country and the inability of the authorities to bring perpetrators to book have fueled the alleged impunity. But in a swift reaction, the Nigerian army debunked the claims by Amnesty International, describing the reports as unfounded. In a statement by the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sani Usman, the army insists that Amnesty's action is an attempt to tarnish the reputation of the security forces in general and the Nigerian army in particular. You're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, celebrating 21 years of professional broadcasting. Time now to take you to our Abuja studios. And Gloria Mwezweke is standing by to take us through. Gloria.
Hello, Gimbar. The Group Managing Director of Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, Dr. Mekante Barau, says only refiners, big traders, and companies with substantial investment in the oil and gas sector will scale through the bid for the 2016 to 2017 term contracts for Nigeria crude oil sale. He was speaking at the opening of bids for the 12-month term contracts in Abuja today, with a total of 224 companies participating. Our correspondent, Omelogo Nadi, reports.
Thank you very much. Please, you may be seated.
Representatives from 224 companies at the amphitheater of the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, for the opening of the bid for the 2016 to 2017 term contract tender for the Nigeria crude oil sale and purchase.
Just pick another one. Just anyone in random.
These companies are bidding to be among the few that will carry out the contract of supplying up to 700,000 barrels of oil per day from joint venture operations, royalties and tax oil over a 12-month period starting February 2017. The Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Dr. Pt.2, who opened the bid after a test of transparency, told journalists that the target this time around is specific.
We are targeting refiners and also big traders, as well as companies that have made substantial investments in the oil and gas industry, particularly downstream in Nigeria.
He says the actual number of companies to emerge from the bidding will be decided in the first quarter of 2017.
That will be decided on actual production focus around February, when the tenders are supposed to come in. However, last year we had about 27 companies that were selected.
The Group Managing Director says Nigeria's crude is not struggling for market, contrary to speculations, but continues to earn premium, with major markets in Europe and Asia, as well as the United States, recently added to the list. Omelogo, Nadi Channels Television News.
The Vice President, Professor Ayo Adebanjo, is on a fact-finding visit to Anambra State with the aim of understanding and finding solutions to the challenges of private enterprise. Professor Adebanjo toured 6 private sector industries in Onitsha and Nnewi, the commercial and the industrial nerve centers of the state. While commending the ingenuity of Anambra industrialists, he also promised that the federal government will support them in the areas of power, foreign exchange, and capital.
A lot has been said and heard about the activities of the governor of Anambra State, and today the vice president has come to see things for himself. On hand to welcome him is the governor, Willie Obiano, and the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige. Pleasantries over. The reason for the visit starts. It's a tour of the 6 private sector industries in the state. The industries engaged in the manufacturing of automobiles, beverages, drug dispensing caps, rice, noodles, plastics and lubricants all impressed the Vice President. He is particularly pleased with the fact that despite the available technology to get the job done, people are taken into consideration.
The fact that he has chosen to use people to do the work rather than machines is very, very important. I'm very happy that he has chosen to use actual people like yourself to do this work rather than put a machine that will be doing the work. This is very, very wonderful and thoughtful of him.
The federal government's drive towards indigenous products is bolstered by such industrial strides, and the Vice President has cheering information for the management of the only automobile manufacturing plant in the country.
Just yesterday, at the Federal Executive Council, the number of cars was approved for purchase and for the Federal Road Safety Corps, and our supplier is Innocent Motors.
As the visit winds up, the host governor hints that there's more to expect from Anambra State.
You know, in a recession, you don't retreat, you pump money to attack it, and that's what we are doing. We are pumping money into the system to be able to change that nose of a recession.
With all that has been set in place in Anambra, hopes are high that with proper management, they will not go the way of others before them into a moribund state.
The cassava leaves have been identified as a viable alternative to animal feeds as a way of preventing pastoral conflict in the country. The acting executive director of the Agricultural and Rural Management Training Institute, Dr. Olufemi Oladuni, who made the suggestion, said the cassava alternative would not only end clashes between herdsmen and farmers, but create more jobs and boost the economy through agriculture.
The unending clashes between farmers and herdsmen has remained an issue that has dominated the national discourse. The conflict has led to a loss of valuable lives and property. However, Greek experts who are gathered here in the nation's capital are of the opinion that this can become a thing of the past if government adopts the use of cassava leaves as an alternative source of feeding for livestock. This, they say, will not only help resolve the conflict, but also have a trickle-down effect on the economy.
This is very innovative and has come at a very right time. You know what, presently, the problem we're having with this herdsmen, crop farmers conflict is because these animals, we have not provided for their feed and water.
We have been missing a valuable feed resource for many years. When we begin to establish cassava leaves as livestock feed, you will see the reduction in the farmer-pastoralist conflicts.
For now, it seems the federal government is buying into the idea. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development says the campaign will begin with a test run in some pilot states before a final rollout across the federation.
This is like awareness stage, advocacy stage. We want to bring it to the fore that this is possible first for people to know. Then we now create, the future is that we create pilot test area.
Nigeria ranks first on the list of countries with high cassava production, with about 54 million tons of cassava produced annually. Statistics also show that only its tubers are processed into food products. That may soon change if the theory on cassava leaves propounded at this meeting is put to practice.
We're still ahead on the news at 10. Statistician General of the Federation advocates timely gathering of data towards attainment of sustainable development goals. Well, that's in business news. Please join us again.